When you have to look at a fixture, there's a commercial hat and there's the football hat. Which one wins out most from this fixture?
It's a really good question. I think it's pretty well balanced, actually. The first indicator I get is the call from Ken, who is always first, and he was pretty happy. Actually, I think that the stuff that he looks for is the breaks between games, who we're playing at home, and the balance of it, and we're pretty pleased about that. But from a commercial point of view, we really like the way that we've got major Melbourne clubs coming to Adelaide. I think again we get Collingwood, Carlton, Hawthorn, and Richmond, which are terrific. We've got a Thursday night game, we've got a Friday night game, we've got 2 Saturday nights, we've got some Saturday twilight. So they're always fantastic at the Adelaide Oval, and we've proven that we can draw a crowd at those games. So all up, from that point of view, locally we're really happy, and clearly the Shanghai announcement yesterday it was welcomed by the club, and particularly the bye immediately after that round was really important and not easy to achieve, to be honest, by the AFL, and we thank them for that.
In terms of a heap of night games, how much did you push for that, and how much of it is also a reflection on the Oval?
Look, I think there is an acknowledgement at head office that the Adelaide Oval does present very, very well at night. I think that as a spectacle, as a TV event, the Adelaide Oval is terrific. It's fantastic live as well. We traditionally don't push really hard for those night games, even though everyone's aware that they're important and we would like them. I tend to think that they are a byproduct of performance, and our position since back in 2012 is that we'll earn the right for those games, and I think that steadily that's happening, and we're quite pleased with the number that we got this year.
Fair to say, with only the one Friday night game, and given the team's form, in the last 2 seasons, you probably haven't earned the right to have that marquee time slot.
Yeah, look, I think that's reasonable. We remember days where we didn't get any, and we certainly didn't get any Saturday nights either. So, to have four of those games this year against really high quality Melbourne clubs, that's pretty good going. We're okay with that.
Are you happy about Carlton rather than Hawthorn?
Yeah, I think Carlton draw pretty well here. I think they're on the improve, and that'll be a really, really significant contest. It is an important night for us. The Anzac celebration, being able to play the Anzac round in Adelaide is a tradition that's been honoured by the AFL. I think it's 12 or 13 years in a row now that we've had that, and to be perfectly honest, it doesn't really matter who we're playing. It's going to be a significant event. We'll make it that way, and our people will support it.
You got the China game and the Anzac round game at home. Were there any requests that you put forward to the AFL that weren't met?
No, I don't think there was really. If there was, it was they're minor. We were really focused on protecting Anzac Day and getting Shanghai. They were the really important ones. We made a big splash around multicultural round last year. We would like to do that again this year, but we're not sure about where that falls. So that's still to be determined. So we feel as if when we're given the opportunity to make a statement on a broader level than footy, we do a pretty good job at it, and I think that the AFL recognises that.
Did you step away from Central Australia because you've been there for so many years?
Yeah, we did actually. Only because of the task associated with getting to Shanghai. We felt like we really enjoyed the Alice Springs trips and our time in Darwin, but we had to focus on Shanghai, and we felt if we were pushing for too many things, you might compromise yourself. So we decided to put that lower down the list, and the reality is that we've been the visiting team in Alice Springs for forever. And whilst it's still important to us from a community point of view, we can still do that without having to be at the ground. So it was a nice thing to do, but not an imperative.
And you also had a game in Darwin for the last few years as well, was
No, that dropped off. And that was more to do with the Northern Territory deciding that they wanted to play games at Alice Springs. And to be perfectly honest, we as a club preferred Alice. It was a little closer. The temperature seemed to be a little easier to manage. And we felt the atmosphere at those games was fantastic. So whilst it's disappointing that we can't be there, you can't do it all.
So it was basically one or the other. Yeah.
Well, that's how we choose to present it, to be honest. We put a lot of focus on Anzac Day and Shanghai, and I felt like overemphasising Alice Springs would perhaps sort of compromise those other two priorities. So the other thing in the draw that we're really quite excited about is the game at Eureka, in Ballarat. I think that's a bit of history there, and very good for the Bulldogs. It's a concept that we support, which is taking our game as far and wide as we can, and we'll be there to support the Bulldogs do that. I think that's a nice opportunity. So.
Were you asked to take part in that game?
No, that just occurred. That fell in our lap. So we're pleased to support.
There's a bit of relief around the club, I suppose. Keith's been working so hard to get the China deal over the line now. When it was formally announced, was there wiping down of brows and shaking of hands and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I reckon that's fair. We had the Prime Minister basically announce it in April, and that puts a lot of pressure on you because it wasn't done at that point. But he was very confident and wanted it to happen. So that was terrific. So since then we've been working very hard to get it right. But it's a really complex task to get both governments feeling comfortable, getting all the approval processes in China done correctly, getting the financial backing behind it, getting the AFL comfortable that they could accommodate it within the fixture. So there's a lot of hurdles that you have to go through. And to be honest, relief was a big part of it, but also a great deal of pride. This is a really momentous event on the horizon for the code and for Port Adelaide. It changes, I think, the nature of our club in that it attaches a really significant, unique proposition to Port Adelaide from a commercial point of view, and I think that it has over the next few years the potential to transform our club financially. So we thought it was a really important day.
What are you going to build around that first showdown next year?
Well, it's a 20-year anniversary, Rooch, and so we think that needs to be recognised. And we think it's one of the great sporting rivalries, going, and we intend to celebrate it. There's been a lot of great moments. Again, it's early in the season. The season will be well and truly alive for both clubs. It's a showdown, so it won't matter. It's a Saturday night, so it'll be rocking, I reckon. But we are really looking forward to that one. And as I said, I think showdowns are to be celebrated, and we'll be doing that.
The Crows have got 5 Friday night games. Do you think your performance on field has impacted the number of primetime games?
Well, I think I assume it does. If you look at the Crows and the Bulldogs have both been rewarded with a significant amount of night games, and us in our most recent history, our position has improved as a result of our improvement, and that's certainly been the position of the AFL historically, is that you have to earn that right. We've accepted that, and and if that's what this means, so be it. That's fair.
Keith, with the game in China, has there been a decision made on when the playing group will go over? Like, will you go over a week before?
Yeah.
If possible, or a couple of days?
Or? Not in a firm way, but I suspect that we'll be going over on the Tuesday. The players will need to acclimatise. It'll be warmer. It's also a longer trip, and you've got to be. Our experience travelling to China is that you are prone to delays, so it could stretch it even further. So we'll just make sure that any of those impacts are negated by being there early enough to make sure the players feel comfortable. And We're taking 6 players, and Ken, Hinkley and Burgess over at the end of November and December, again, just to do some reconnaissance, go through the process of looking at the stadium, travelling to and from the hotel to the stadium, just to get a sense of how it is logistically. So we'll do everything we can to make sure the players don't have anything but a positive experience.
Was there an original plan to actually have a training camp when this?
Yeah, so we've turned it more into a promotional camp. So it's actually quite a big deal. We've got our 6 leading players, our leadership group, coach and head of fitness. We've got the AFL Boomerangs travelling with us, and also the SASTA Aboriginal Academy team. So we're going to be playing exhibition games. We're going to be inviting schools. There's 12 schools who are going to be incorporating AFL into their curriculum next year, which is as a result of our program. So they will be coming through the promotional training camp. So it's going to be fantastic and a great opportunity to promote the game in Shanghai to the Chinese media and Chinese business. So that's happening first week of December this year.
Commercially, is that, I'm not sure if you made a decision on that, but the commercial windfall the club might get, is that used to boost the footy department?
Yeah, so in footy clubs, and I don't think we're any different to any other club, everything finds its way back to the footy program, and that's right. You know, we exist to win games of footy. You know, that's really the bottom line. So the short answer to that is yes, but it's about growing the club and its relevance and importance for the long term. If you think about it in economic terms, outside of South Australia, Port Adelaide is seen as the smaller of 2 clubs in a relatively small town playing an Indigenous game inside Australia. And it's very easy in that context to be minimalised. By attaching China and the proposition of China to the Port Adelaide Football Club, all of a sudden you have a unique and very compelling commercial proposition to take to not only the national market, to the international market. And we think that this will take some time, but over the next few years, that will be transformational for our club. And we probably haven't explained that as well as we could to our members and our supporters, but it doesn't mean shifting focus away from the day-to-day business of winning games of footy. In fact, it's all about enhancing our ability to remain competitive in a sustained way forever and a day. And we felt like we needed another string to our bow, if you like, from a commercial point of view to ensure that could happen.
Keith, what did you make of the club's trade period?
Look, in the end, we got the result that we wanted. That was to go back into the draft, with pretty strong position in the first 2 rounds. We did it in a way that was not expected, but I think if you go back to the conversations that were had in the post-season period, I think that's really important. It was really uncomfortable, and so it should be. The season that we had was unacceptable. We all agree with that. The players, in their review with Ken and the coaches, were provided that feedback and at a very personal level. And we went into the trade period with the players fully understanding that we had an open mind on this. If there were ways in which we could improve our list going in to the trade period, we would be open to that. Now, that's a different mindset to the one that we've had in the past few years, where it's been all about trading in and building, which again was quite appropriate. When you don't deliver as a club, you have to pivot and reassess where you're at, and we did that. Now, as it turned out, those trades didn't present themselves to a level that we were prepared to take. So we simply took the decision to achieve the result we wanted to. We traded a first round pick, and that's okay. So we hit 17 doing what we need to do. But as of next year, the flexibility that we have within the list from a contractual point of view is significantly greater again than it was this year. And so everyone, from the CEO right through to the rookies coming in, understand that for Port Adelaide, 2017 is about performance. It's always that, and we are expecting a really significant response. We don't walk away from that. That's where we're at, and I fully expect that we're going to get it.
Instead of trading for sort of ready-made players, Keith, like some clubs would have done, by opting to go to the draft, is it a bit of a concession that the club feels that it is 2 or 3 years away, given the work you'll have to put into some higher-end draft picks?
No. What it says is that we have absolute faith in the group that we have. I think that there is significant upside in our group. I thought we saw that with Burn-Jones and Impey, Austin, those sort of guys coming into the side this year. Dougal-Howard when he was there. We feel as if those guys have great natural upside. We think that we can get a lot more out of our established stars. I think that they would be the first to say that they weren't at the level that they would like to be at and that we're used to. We know about the Ryder and Monfries and White inclusions and Honch and Jonas. We believe that we are an underperforming list that's going to absolutely respond in 2017, and that's how we're approaching the year.
Given how you went into the trade period, has it become uncomfortable around the club for a few blokes like Hamish Hartlett and Matthew Lobby who were...
Yeah, I think they're professionals, and I reckon the way that you overcome that is through honesty and transparency. And I've got to tell you that Ken is outstanding in that space, and I've spoken to Hamish and Matthew and all of the players through the summer, and they understand it for what it is. And we underperformed. We're not happy with it. You have to have these honest conversations. They've been had. Now we approach the season with vigour and real optimism. We can't wait to get there, to be honest.